A disturbing scene at a Donald Trump rally in Phoenix this weekend as a man turned to the media and chanted, quote, "Jew-SA."
To our society will be a very, very high priority.
That man has been identified as 51-year-old George Lindell, and he told BuzzFeed News, "We all just misheard him. That's the way I say USA," he said, adding, "I'm around Mexican people all the time. I speak a lot of Spanish. That's just the way I say it." I'm not making that up. The claim is somewhat less plausible, seeing as Lindell ended his rant by telling reporters, "We're worried about the Jews, okay?" Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway described Lindell's conduct as deplorable.
We have seen a lot of anti-Semites and racists and misogynists who support the Trump candidacy.
Wow.
Would you call that man deplorable?
Well, yes, I would. His conduct is completely unacceptable and does not reflect our campaign or our candidate. Wow, I have to push back on some of the adjectives you just used to describe. I hope you've been to Trump rallies. These are USA-loving Americans who just want their country to be prosperous and safe again.
It's certainly true the vast majority of Trump supporters are not people who chant "Jew-SA." But it's also true an awful lot of bigots have been drawn to Trump. One of them, self-proclaimed white nationalist William Johnson, who believes that, quote, "the white race is dying out," today released a homophobic robocall attacking independent conservative candidate Evan McMullen, who is threatening to defeat Trump in Utah, polling neck and neck.
Evan has two mommies. His mother is a lesbian married to another woman. Evan is okay with that. Indeed, Evan supports the Supreme Court ruling legalizing gay marriage. Evan is over 40 years old and is not married and doesn't even have a girlfriend. I believe Evan is a closet homosexual. Don't vote for Evan McMullen. Vote for Donald Trump.
Bigots who support Trump seem to have been particularly energized by policies like the Muslim ban and Trump's characterization of many immigrants as rapists and criminals. In New Mexico yesterday, Trump falsely claimed Hillary advocates, quote, "open borders," and absurdly suggested she would allow 650 million people to, quote, pour in, twice the current population, in just 1 week. He also cited a baseless claim from a union representing a fraction of immigration customs enforcement officers suggests immigrants will murder thousands of Americans if Clinton is elected.
The immigration officers also warned that Hillary's radical plan would result in the loss, think of this, of thousands of innocent American lives and an uncontrollable flood of illegal immigrants across the border, taking jobs, and crime would be rampant.
Joining me now, Morgan State University professor Jason Johnson, who's politics editor at The Root. And Jason, I mean, I guess that, you know, it's one of these things where you have this conversation, you point to all these various people and you say, look, it's really a thing that these folks are supporting Trump, and the Trump folks say, and I understand why they do, look, you're painting with a broad brush and the overwhelming majority aren't like that. But look, I've been covering politics. I mean, people don't stand at the rally of a major party nominee chanting "Jew-SA."
Right. Look, Donald Trump is a racist, and he gets support by racists. And this has not been a question for a long time. He started his campaign by saying there are rapist Mexicans and there are good Mexicans. And this is a problem. And it's not because we haven't had racist presidents before. We definitely have throughout American history.
Yeah, I would say that would be the norm, actually.
Right, exactly. It's like he's not going to be the first, but he is mainstreamed. Even the term alt-right, now we've got like hipster neo-Nazis, and that's considered fine and sexy. He has made being an open, hostile bigot perfectly okay for a major party nominee, and that is something dangerous no matter if he loses next week.
You know, and part of this also, I think, is the atmosphere that is driven by the campaign, right? So they're not, right. You know, campaigns are not responsible for everything their supporters do. That's just a blanket important rule. But they have been slow to condemn certain things, and there's a way that those crowds are ginned up. Here's Wayne Allen Root, who's at a Trump rally as a sort of opening act, talking about Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton. Take a listen.
I have a name for the future TV movie. It's called Driving Miss Hillary. And the ending, if we all get our wish, the ending is like Thelma and Louise.
That's a guy who's wishing you know, on the record at the podium that the candidate will speak of, the major party nominee, saying, we all get our wish that these two people will die, that other party's nominee will die. That is sort of par for the course rhetoric.
Yeah, and it's become normal. And I don't know, maybe a Hillary Thriller, maybe that's his new Trump TV show, I don't know. But what we've seen here is that whether it's Bill Burr, whether it's a candidate in Senate in North Carolina, whether it's Donald Trump, the idea of sparking direct violence against your political opponents is a degradation of public discourse in the United States. The suggestion that I will jail my political opponent once I'm elected is a degradation of public discourse in this country. And here's what happens. The reason that we usually have peaceful transfers of power is because people don't worry that if they lose an election, they're going to end up in a gulag. So when you start saying those kinds of things, it makes everyone much more concerned. I would not be surprised if we see violence after this election next week, and that's not something anyone wants to see.
Yeah, I'm praying that that's not the case. Richard Burr, the incumbent senator in North Carolina, who is in a neck-and-neck battle, some audio coming out of him addressing, as you referenced, I want to play that audio, you know, making a joke about Hillary Clinton and a gun magazine. Take a listen.
Nothing made me feel any better than I walked into a gun shop, I think yesterday in Oxford. There was a copy of Rifleman on the counter. Oh, yeah. It's got a picture of Hillary Clinton on the front of it. I was a little bit shocked at that. Didn't have a bullseye on it.
You know, and he says, look, that was a joke. He has since apologized, saying, I shouldn't have said that, I apologize. But, you know, there is, you know, you cannot go to any event anymore without where the range about the feeling about Hillary Clinton is either she should be in jail or she should be dead.
Right. And here's what I see as ultimately the problem with this. You know, Kellyanne can say, look, the Trump campaign is trying to distance itself from it. This has been the problem in the Republican Party for years. This is what Reince Priebus tried to fix by saying, look, we need to open up the party and make it a bigger tent. But instead, they have gone full bore and they have embraced racists. They have embraced terrorist organizations like the Ku Klux Klan. And again, the long-term consequences of this is if you have sitting senators who can make jokes about killing someone who may become president, what that does is embolden less stable, less intelligent, less invested people in this country to attack, to shoot, to possibly try to capture a voting location, and that's a problem, and Trump is responsible for it.
Yeah, let's all remember, it didn't start with Trump. Jesse Helms, former senator from North Carolina, joked about the president being assassinated if he came to North Carolina back when Bill Clinton was president. Jason Johnson, thanks for being with me tonight. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Chris.
Still ahead, over 23 million ballots have already been cast this election. The state of the race just 8 days out, coming up.